Hello there. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about Blast Premier Spring Final 2023 that's happening in Dallas, not Dallas, but Washington. And I'm saying Dallas because most of the teams came from Dallas just a couple of days ago. And this is, I believe, the last event of the season before we head into a break. And then after the break, immediately it's the Cologne. So this is a pretty interesting event. Only 8 teams. I like to call them Banana Cup. And but the thing is, like 200K is a lot of money, and it's the last event of the year. Everybody wants to, either like they're super tired, and but they still wanna kind of get that money and get the spot in the world final at the end of the year. So we have 8 teams. I'm going to talk about the teams. I'm going to talk about their state, and I'm going to talk about first matchups and see who might win it. First of all, we have Vitality. Now, obviously, we know that they won the major, they won Rio, and they took a little bit of a break. I think they might have practiced, in some decent amount, not like too much. That's what I would do probably, because the season was super long for them, and they did play well and they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish with this organization so far after about a year and a half of creating this team. And Springs was initially a little bit of a disappointment, but then he stepped up massively and just he was the next best player after Zaivu. So coming into this event, they're now the favorites number one probably, considering the state of all teams right now and the things that are happening. So I think they should be coming mostly most prepared out of all teams, because they get to see everything that the other teams did just a couple of days ago. So number one definitely favorite here. They're facing who are they facing by Imperial in the first opening round. In the best of three, which is going to be a piece of cake for them probably. Now, Heroic, on the other side, we have them as a massive disappointment, honestly. The thing is, like, they managed to choke it again against Mountsport in the semis. And I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I tweeted about this. I don't know what's happening to this team. After the game against Mountsports, they looked like the best team in the earth. Like, absolutely no contest, the best team. And Ansel was the second one. But they were looking like they're going to finally win it. And they had, again, the open bracket, but somehow they managed to, okay, Mouse played all right. They didn't, they overperformed, definitely. But still, you have to, win that game, especially because you beat the same Mouse, on the same event just a few days earlier, 2-0 with no obstacles whatsoever. It was super easy for you. And then you come into the semifinals and you just completely choke. I don't know what's happening with this team, and when it comes to, like, mental game, and when it comes to the stage games, they just don't show up. It's something that needs to be addressed in the off season. They don't think they need to change anything at all. They need to change the approach to some things, and they need to do something with their mental game now. What's that thing? I don't know at this point, because I don't know obviously what's going on inside the team. But this is how it looks like, and this is they should be their target number one as an organization, as a coach, if you exist, and if you're, well, not so much Cadian, but you just let them rest for the off season. But if you exist, you just talk to the management and, like, the people around you, just to see how you want to fix this mental game issue based on what you saw in the last 6 months or a year or whatever, because they choked the final. I mean, they lost the final against VP, they lost the final against G2, they lost the final against Vitality, they lost the semis against Gamer Legion, they lost the semis against Mouse Sports. It's just way too much. That's 5 possible titles, and they got 0. So that's the priority number one. Here, they're going to be a little bit exhausted. What they're facing in the first game, they're facing. Complexity with the standing. It shouldn't be a problem there, but I wouldn't put my money on Heroic on this one, because they seem to be feeling like a little bit exhausted. Now, talking about exhausted, it's Space. Now, this is the most. I feel like that's the most tired team in the scene right now. You can see by the body language and, like, how they do in interviews and how they play. They completely are out of juice. They do really gonna enjoy this player break, and I do think they're gonna. Who are they facing? Astralis. Gonna talk about that matchup a little bit later. But FaZe is a team, they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish in a sense. They won the Grand Slam by winning Pro League, but they didn't do well on the major. I guess the playoffs is good for most teams, but for FaZe, it's not good enough. And they lost to Ants in that overtime game on Ancient in the semis. They could have won that. Kerrigan had a terrible game in that best of three, but it's a long game. He made some really good calls as an IGL fragging department wasn't there at all. They had multiple match points. They could have won this event pretty easily, and they didn't. And I think the fatigue and the fact that they played everything pretty much this season, kind of caught up to them, and that's why they lost. They're gonna probably, give it 100% here, and they have to think like what's gonna happen with the possible changes in the off season and trying to get into the next season with some fresh blood and trying to like make something happen. But overall, they should be relatively satisfied with the season, considering they won Inter Grand Slam. So it's just it is what it is, right? So we have G2. Now I don't even know. Like the thing is, like we saw what they did in Dallas, how pathetic they played in Dallas, and that's the that's coming after the major, which they disappointed once again, where they had a break from Rio. They didn't go to Rio so they could practice. They decided nobody was in form except for maybe JKS, and now JKS was in form in the majors. So after all of them kind of underperformed. Morrissey was playing all right, as I remember, in Dallas, and the rest of the team was like not even close to their level whatsoever. Even Nico as well. So right now, are they gonna? Is the team aware there's some changes are gonna happen? I don't know. I haven't spoken to Nico about this, and I don't really know if they're gonna change anything or not. But I assume so, because if they don't, they're just crazy. So, and if you get a buff from the fact that your team is that now, the worst thing that can happen for them right here is the fact that they didn't talk about possible changes inside the organization and team, and they didn't consider it. So I do believe if they didn't do that and they win this event, they're gonna just keep going, and it's gonna be another mistake. But then if they did talk about it and everybody knows, it can be additional buff for them, and maybe they can win this thing again, which is not completely impossible. Some things though, sometimes those things happen, and it's not like they're facing some sort of like mid-season the best form teams. It's just they're good as any of these teams right here in this event. So them winning this one is not even that far off, depending on what the state of the team is. But in order to do that, everybody needs to lift their individual game for at least one or two levels. So it's just not good enough right now, and it's just they need a team effort to kind of get that chance. Now Cloud9, oh my god, Cloud9, dude! Like every time I see them have a break and they go for an event, I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna come, back and just they're gonna, play well. They're gonna go to the semis or the finals. They're gonna win it, and they disappoint once again. Same thing happened in Dallas. They were fucking terrible, and the same thing happening again. The same T sides, the same shit ever, and it's just I don't understand. Like, are you not? Are you like if you're Groove, if you're the org, are you not seeing the issues? Are you not seeing the patterns? It's just, do you believe that this thing could just magically fix itself? Now, I predicted that Buster won't make it past October back in January, and I still do believe that's going to happen. That's going to happen, but I think the main candidate for bench or trade or release, whatever, is going to be Nafani, and I wouldn't be surprised if Groove happens that. But Groove is like Jack's favorite person there, so I don't think he's in danger. But I would change him and Nafani too, because this thing is not working anymore. Like it is not working for a while now. They're disappointing all over the place, and they have Exile and Shiro, two top five players. That's not you can't you can't really justify that anymore. And I think they might change something after this event, and it should be a smart thing to do. Even like two changes would be fine because there is so much CS talent, and you know, this is just not good enough. And right now, who are they facing? They're playing against G2. Now that's going to be evenly matched up. You're going to see Vertigo. You're not going to see Inferno, like the normal things, and there's all going to be Nuke for G2, and it should be an interesting. It should be a three mapper. Last time G2 won easily, and it might happen again. I don't know. It's a tough match to kind of predict. Astralis, they missed a lot of events. They played Dallas. They played well. Device was out of his mind. He played a great tournament. Like he was, if he managed to get to the finals or something, he would probably be the MVP. They got stopped in the quarterfinals, even though they had a chance to go directly against Ents into the semis, but they didn't. And they put up a good show, and now they announced the Stair is coming on the end of the year, and these two guys, Altex and Buzz, are fighting for their spot. Blame is playing all right. Device is playing out of his mind. Glaive is, happy that he has Device next to him, and the calls get a little bit easier, and reading the game gets a little bit easier. So overall, not Device, but Astralis performed well. Now, are they going to do well on the? Here they're facing Phase. Now they need more than Device in this event and against any of these teams except for maybe these two. They need more Device, to win. So if you, even though they dismantled Cloud9, I think it was 2-0, but the Cloud9 is just okay. Let's just say these four teams, like these three, they can win against these four. It's going to be super hard unless all of them wake up and have a good game, except instead of just Device. So overall, Astralis, it's just I'm not unhappy, obviously, because they played well and it's finally something good happening to them, and they have this Stair guy coming into the end of the year, so it might be an interesting 2024 for them, but they still have to play the rest of this year and this event. So here I don't know what to expect, but they're certainly better than Complexity and Imperial. Now Complexity again with a stand-in here. Halzarek is not there. We saw them fail in Dallas, even though they had some decent maps, I guess. I don't think they can do much. This is just the end of the season for them. I think that the changes are incoming here, definitely. This is just not working. They had a glimpse of a little bit of improvement in the beginning of the year when they played Kato and they almost get into the playoffs. So, and things were looking a little bit better, but then they just went down the drain again. It just nothing really happened, nothing really changed. It's all the same, bad results, match after match, tournament after tournament. And I do believe, because they're the partner teams in ESL and Blast, they have to make something happen, just to improve their team, some sort of American shuffle, bringing a new, fresh IGL maybe instead of JT, a new coach. That can be a thing. Maybe somebody instead of Fang. It is there is a lot of there to think about when it comes to Complexity. Now Imperial, I don't even know what to think. Fallen is connected to Furia, and I don't think that's just a rumor. I think that's a valid thing, and I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But it's very strange, which puts Imperial in a very very difficult spot here. I don't know if they're practicing or not, so I wouldn't really count too much on them. Who are they facing? Vitality. It should be a walk in the park, like I said there. I think Imperial is going to be dead last here, considering they probably let's say that there is they know that Fallen is probably leaving after this event, and they're not even practicing, or they're practicing, but there's just not so much effort. They're going to come into this event and probably lose, whatever game they play. So that's the state of all teams. Now let's see the matchups. Obviously, Group A, we have Vitality Imperial. Like I said, Vitality number one favorite here, Imperial number 8 favorite here, so probably dead last. So this is a very fair matchup considering the very fair seeding considering the state of the teams. This should be a 2-0 for Vitality without any surprises there whatsoever. I don't think we need to spend too much time talking about this game because it's quite obvious what's going to happen. Now, this is the most interesting. Well, maybe yeah, that and FaZe Astralis. Uh, Game between Cloud9 and G2. Like I said, it should be considering the both teams' forms right now. I would say the G2 is a favorite because I do think they kind of came ready to Dallas, but they kind of failed because of the different things. I'm not going to go into that right now because everybody knows my stance about this team and Hooksy and whatever. So overall, it should be an interesting game. It should be a three mapper because G2 is going to pick Inferno. Although I think. That might be in question because they lost two Infernos in a row. But I do believe that has to happen. And Cloud9 is going to go for Vertigo, which is the weakest map, I guess, for G2. But it doesn't really mean much because Cloud9 is playing bad. So three mapper here, G2 slightly favored. I don't think that's unfair to say. And hmm, yeah, that's the Group A opening matchups. Now we have the Group B opening matchups. That's Heroic against Complexity. Like I said, Complexity second worst team here, probably waiting for the season at the end to get some changes. Heroic, they have to kind of prove some things to them. Even though they're exhausted, they have to prove that they can win an event. Maybe this will help them. The last event they won, probably the only one, was it? In the last, however, was Blast, the end of the year last year, December or September. I don't know. But the thing is, I think they won't blast. So they should be favored here to win comfortably 2-0. I don't think they're gonna mess around with some sort of close games. I think they're gonna slam through complexity. Probably gonna win 2-0. Now we come into the phase of Astralis. Like I said, Astralis showed like good form, but it's mostly device being super super high level, right? If he repeats that and he gets some help, they can beat FaZe. If FaZe goes into that dark mode, they go sometimes they can lose. But if FaZe plays a normal game, like normal game, it's not just they don't have to like go super high and above, right? They just need to play a standard game. They should be able to win against Astralis, even if device goes ham again. But if he doesn't get support, then it can be a problem because you have to put some sort of numbers against FaZe in order to beat them. Now, when it comes to the maps, I don't really know. FaZe might go for Nuke, Inferno, Ancient. They can go all over the place. The map pool here is a little bit iffy, but the thing is, like, FaZe is the favorite here. I do believe they're going to win, and the odds are saying I think it's like 160, 155, or something, whatever. But they are favored to win this game. So, like I said, there is like conditions that you need to consider when going into this matchup. So the thing is, like first round matchups, that we can have the two favorites probably most certainly winning, and there is an upset potential because these teams are not so far from each other considering the circumstances right now. In general, FaZe would be much much higher level than Astralis, but they're super exhausted and they might crumble a little bit. Now I think that covers up all the both groups. Only 8 teams. It should be a fun event to watch overall, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I will. Anyway, if you like this type of content, guys, make sure you like and subscribe, and tell me what you think about these matchups, and tell me what you think if I'm wrong or if I'm right or whatever. Just hit that subscribe button and leave a comment and enjoy the tournament, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, guys. Just want to remind you that OneXBet is an official partner of my channel, and if you're a gambling person, if you're over 18, make sure you go check it out. Use the code 1XKassad or Kassad1X. There is a link in the description, and you get up to 130 euro bonus directly from me. So go check it out and have fun. See ya.